Hello everyone, in this video we're going to have a look at while loops. Okay, we're going to look at two types of while loops. So in C++ actually there's two types of while loops. There's a while, a normal traditional while loop that you find in any other language, and then there's a do while, which you only find in some languages. The difference is that I'm going to show you. While loop just runs the code based on a certain criteria. Okay, whether it's a boolean criteria. Okay, so whether something is true, it's gonna run. If it's false, then the loop will not run. Okay, that's one thing. And then a do while, the do while just executes the code first, and then it checks for the condition. So I'm just gonna show you a normal while. Okay, the traditional or the thing for a while loop is the syntax is like this. Okay, while, and you'd have a condition in here. So if I have a condition, my spelling is bad today, condition, okay, now I'm gonna say bool condition, and I'm gonna say equal to true. Now you're gonna see that the loop is actually gonna run based on this condition. So I'm gonna say cout true. Okay, now this is actually an infinite loop, so it's going to keep running, but let's just go and give that a shot. So you can see it prints out true, 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 true. It doesn't stop unless we stop it. So the way the thing you want to do is actually have a variable inside a while loop. Okay, so in order to stop this from being an infinite loop, you're going to have maybe an integer. You're going to say int x is equal to 5. And at the end I'm going to have an if statement saying if 5 or x is equal to say 150, alright, or maybe not in 150, say maybe 5 or no 3 times, right, 3, then what I'm going to do is actually I'm going to say, what am I going to say? I'm going to say break out of the loop. Alright, that's what I'm going to do. However, if it isn't, then I'm just going to increment x. Alright, so let me run that. It doesn't work. Why doesn't it work? X is being incremented. X is equal to 3. Oh, I'm like, I don't know, what did I do? I'll make this 0. Sorry, that's the reason. I mean, x was 5 and it kept incrementing. X would never be a 3. So let me just increment this. So you can see it prints out true how many times? 4 times. Alright, so that's just the while loop. Okay, let me just do an end right there, and then I'm gonna run this again. Okay, you can see it printed us 4 times true. Okay, and break, what it does is it actually breaks out of the loop. So if x is 3, then it's going to break out of the loop, right, and x plus plus. So this is what you actually want. You want to have an incrementing formula so that the condition becomes false or you break out of the loop. Alright, and if I were to make this condition false, okay, and you'll see that that loop doesn't run. So that's what the while loop is. So we can actually have another thing, that while x is not equal to 6, okay, we're gonna run this code. So we can remove the this statement, and what's gonna happen is that x is equal to 0, so it's gonna come here and it's gonna check this condition. It's gonna say, oh, x is equal to 0. So this condition isn't this condition is actually true because x is not equal to 6. Sure, run this loop. Now then at the end it's gonna x plus plus, so it's gonna x is equal to 1 then. Okay, so that's what it is, and then it's gonna come back up and it's gonna see that x is equal to 1 and x is not equal to 6, true. So it's gonna then come and see out again, and then it's gonna increment x, so x is gonna be equal to 2, and then it's gonna come back up again and it's gonna say x is now equal to 2, so x is not equal to 6, true. And then it's going to come back, and of course it's going to continue the process, make x 3, make x4. It's going to keep on incrementing until x is actually equal to 5, then x is equal to 6, and then once it's actually 6, then it's going to come up x is not equal to 6, sorry. Then it's going to say, oh, false, x is actually equal to 6, so it's not going to run. So how many times does this loop run? Run once, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 times. Let's see if it prints out 6 times true. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So yeah, that's what it is. 6 times it printed out while true. So sure, that's how you do a while loop. Pretty simple. Condition false. Now comes to the do while loop. A do while loop is pretty much the same, except that you see these two brackets here, we're gonna knock them out and we're gonna put them before the while loop, like that. That's what a while loop is. And before this before the first parenthesis, we're gonna put a do. Okay, so it's gonna do this block of code and it's gonna keep doing it while x is not equal to 6. So this is now you in a do while loop you have to put a semicolon right over there. Just remember that. Okay, so if I were to do the same logic, if I implement the same exact logic which we had over here, which I deleted here, alright, I'm gonna cut that out and I'm gonna do the same right there. Okay, I'm gonna put a semicolon and I'm gonna put a do and like that. Alright, so now what we do is we paste that and I'm gonna run this code. So remember when we had a traditional while loop, this actually printed out 6 times true, but here's the thing. Okay, let me run this in a do while loop and you can see that it actually prints it out 6 times as well, which it shouldn't. X plus plus. The thing with the do while loop is that it actually I think, yeah, so it actually, because we done that. Okay, so with the do while loop what happens is that it actually prints out it executes the code first and then it checks for the condition. That's just the difference. There's just some minor, applications. We don't really use this much, do while loop. We use a while loop usually, but if you want to initialize a variable, for example, first, I mean, think about the game, alright, where you want to initialize something, then you would use a do while loop and you would actually make variables here like int money. You have played games, so $88 or 88 coins, and you want to initialize this at the beginning of every game. The default money of a player in the game would be 88. So yeah, you wouldn't put this in a normal loop, you'd actually put it in a do while loop. So it actually runs this first and then it checks for the condition of whether something is happening or not. Alright, so that's what the difference is between a do while loop and a while loop. And yeah.